Welcome to part 7 of our educational video series where we apply our harm reduction approach to different topics. We hope you enjoyed the How to Have Fun with Pornography video last week, and next week's show is about how to have fun with drugs. But today we're looking at how to have fun joyriding. So let's start with the definition. Joyriding is driving a stolen car really fast for personal enjoyment. It's perfectly normal to want to drive stolen fast cars like a maniac. Some of you have probably already fantasized about screaming through your town in a stolen supercar. That's perfectly normal and nothing to feel ashamed of. Some parents have really negative and judgmental attitudes to joyriding. If you have problems with your parents for this reason, we suggest you speak to the school counsellor. The counsellor can't guarantee absolute confidentiality, but they can promise that they definitely won't tell your mum and dad. We need to make a really important point now. It is okay not to joyride. It's not for everyone, and not joyriding is a perfectly valid choice. Don't just joyride because all of your friends are. It should be your decision. Only you know when you're ready. We're not here to be killjoys, but we want to tell you how to keep safe while joyriding. It can be great fun, but there are a few tips that can help keep you safe while you're on the road. So I'm now going to hand over to PC McTrendy of the Police Schools Liaison Unit.
Hi dudes, you can call me Dave. First thing I want to say is that I'm not here to tell you what to do or what not to do. You're 12 years old, so you're quite capable of making your own decisions. Now, on a serious note, I've been at accident scenes where joyriders have been killed. We really don't want that to happen to you, so that's why we're giving you some tips so that you can joyride safely. Now, I suppose I should mention that stealing cars and driving recklessly are technically against the law. But we obviously realise that joyriding is going to happen. So, since you're going to do it anyway, we'd rather you did it safely. We find that a hard-hitting story is sometimes the best way to get our point over. So I'm going to tell you about an incident I once attended. A boy had stolen a car and was driving it at 93 miles an hour along the high street when he lost control and skidded into a queue at the bus stop, killing 7 people. The boy was not wearing a seatbelt and broke his nose on the steering wheel. That broken nose could have been avoided if only he'd taken a second to fasten his seatbelt before he drove out of the driveway of the house where he stole the car. This just shows how following some simple steps can keep you safe while you're joyriding. So mates, do listen to the rest of this video very carefully.
Thanks, Dave. So you'll be wanting to know how to joyride now. Firstly, you need to steal a car. There are lots of online resources you can refer to help with this. But once you've got a car, what next? Here's what you might want to try. Driving fast. Many joyriders love to see what top speed they can reach. Cornering. It's always exciting to take a corner on the limit, and it can terrify your passengers, which is always part of the fun. As well as fast driving, many joyriders enjoy other techniques as well, such as the handbrake turn and donuts. This is how to do a handbrake turn. This is how to do a donut. So what you need to do to keep safe joyriding. Number 1, always brake in a straight line. You're likely to lose control if you steer and brake at the same time. Number 2, everyone dreams of crazy driving in a Ferrari or such like, but we recommend that you start with a more ordinary car first, just while you're building up your experience. Number 3, if you're drunk, we suggest taking a passenger with you so they can walk you home if you crash. Number 4, fasten your seatbelt. Number 5, always wear a helmet. Just follow our 5 tips and you'll be fine. Have fun. If you're thinking about going joyriding and haven't got a helmet, we can help. The taxpayer will buy one for you. If you go to the website www.helmetsforjoyriders.gov.scot, you can order one in the colour of your choice, all free. If you don't want your parents to know about it, you can get it delivered to your school. Just to finish, remember that we're not encouraging you to go joyriding. If you prefer to sit at home doing your homework, that's entirely up to you. However, if you do opt for the unique thrill of driving your dream car like there's no tomorrow, you'll have a great time if you just follow our 5 little tips.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. If you understood all the jokes, there's no need to watch the rest of the video. However, if this is new territory for you, I'm going to spell it out a little bit. What we've been doing here is mocking the harm reduction approach to personal and social health education in schools, and also that philosophy rears its head in other areas of adult life as well. Now, basically the heart of it is the idea that you're not going to stop people doing various things. If you're talking about schools, be it, school kids watching pornography, having sex, taking drugs, getting drunk or whatever. So you give up on the idea that you're going to persuade them not to, and you put all your energy into reducing the harms that result from them instead. Now, in this approach, non-judgmentalism is the ultimate virtue, and often it actually reflects the views of the practitioners. So the teachers, the educationalists are saying, we take a harm reduction, non-judgmental approach to drugs. What they really mean is they think taking drugs okay. They probably took drugs when they were at university. Maybe they're still taking drugs, but it reflects their personal opinions. Similarly, when they say we take a non-judgmental approach to sex, what they mean is they think sexual promiscuity is actually fine. Because these same people, when they get on to say racism, they don't suddenly say, oh, we take a non-judgmental approach to it. Absolutely not. They're as judgmental as you like. So you might hear the line, if you tell the young people not to do it, it just makes them want to do it more. But they don't really mean that, because I say when it comes to racism or whatever, they absolutely tell the young people what they want them to think and what they want them to do. So the way this is presented in schools to children, young people, it's, we're on your side. We're going to treat you like adults. It's a bit conspiratorial. We're going to keep your parents out of the picture. They might not quite understand as well as we do. They might not be quite as enlightened, but you can come into our secret world and we'll hold your hand as we lead you into these different activities. And often there's an explicit message to reject your conscience. So if you feel guilty about this, there's no need for that. It's absolutely fine. Guilt's like a mental health problem. And the message is, it's your decision. Even if this thing's illegal, it's up to you whether or not you go ahead and do it. So they might state the law reluctantly, but then go on to say, but breaking the law is fine, and that's absolutely up to you. Now, people who take the harm reduction approach, they would always claim, oh, we don't encourage the activity. But if you look at what they say, they're endorsing it as a valid option. And they'll also say, don't let anyone tell you otherwise. And also, they can often make it sound really fun in a way that fires the imagination, arouses the curiosity, and is just obviously going to lead to a tendency for the children to have a dabble with the things that they're talking about. Now, this is the approach of schools in Scotland. It's also the approach of the police. I've heard police talking to young people in schools about drugs, for example. This is the sort of line that they take. Now, a really key point here is that the harm reduction approach reduces everything down to personal risk assessment. So it's weigh up the risk for this for yourself. If you think the risks are acceptable, you just go ahead, that's fine. It's up to you. It disregards the impact on family, friends, employer, public, state, and they're the things that make these things into moral issues. It's not just up to you because it affects lots of other people as well. So being judgmental to say, no, this is just wrong, this is something you should not do, that is absolutely justified. And it's absolutely justified within a society that's taken those decisions. In our democratic society, we've decided that some things are illegal because the society has decided we're not willing to bear the risk and the cost of those choices by individuals. And yet in schools and the police themselves actually undermine that societal consensus expressed in the law. A lot of these things, they can be made slightly safer. But what you get in the teaching, it amounts to instructions into how to do it properly. They can increase children's confidence to experiment, whereas before they might have been a bit reticent. There's an unknown world. Whereas when they think they've got a few tips and a few dangers to avoid, they're more likely to think, yeah, I think I can give that a go. And at the extreme, you've got the state or different agencies actually providing the gear, from condoms to drug injection needles. Or for adults in Scotland, they actually supply the drugs to people. But a lot of these activities, in a lot of ways, they actually cannot be made safe. And these lessons give young people the false impression that they can be made safe. So our take of the Scottish Family Party, first of all, we respect the law. We respect the rights of other people to be free from dangers imposed on them by other people's choices. We do regard some of these things as moral issues. And when it comes to risk assessment, in these lessons it's often too short term. We want to look at the long-term consequences for individuals, families and wider society. So in Scotland there's thousands and thousands of people involved in presenting these sort of messages to children. So I'd invite any of them to come forward, any of you to come forward to debate this issue on our live stream. But don't hold your breath. So what do the parties in the Scottish Parliament think about this issue? Well, I think they've got no view and no clue, because it's a matter of educational philosophy and they just don't show any awareness of that at all. There are no numbers in it. They can only deal with educational issues with numbers in. This hasn't got numbers in, so it doesn't even register on their radar. But it's our job to make them consider an alternative viewpoint by getting MSPs elected into the Scottish Parliament. And to support us in that, you need to join the Scottish Family Party right now via the link below. Thanks for watching.